Welcome to The Vault with Financielle. This is a safe space where we talk all things life and money and no topics are off limits. Good morning.
Good morning.
So usually we have a pre-chat before we sit down, but we've literally just sat down and I feel like we've not had our pre-chat yet. So I hope you're both well. And I'm sorry for you all at home joining our pre-chat, but we're nice and cushy. We've got our drinks, obviously. We were just talking about actually whether we get Financielle microphones.
Yes, and cups.
Jacob just came in then and said, when are you getting your microphones? And actually we should. So tell us what you think we should. Should we get a colour? Should we get a saying? Should we get the vault?
Should we get Financielle? Yeah.
What should we get?
Dump him.
Dump him. Oh,
Red
I know. Red flag.
Yeah.
How many relationships have we broken, but also saved?
Multiple
yeah.
of both.
Double, because if they're meant to dump him or dump her, we've said that before, then maybe it then produces a new relationship later.
Yeah.
So it's not just the ones we've ended. We've done that so that we've started new.
Don't listen to this podcast if you're on the edge about ending your relationship, because there's a good chance by the end of it.
Turn off now and
Yeah.
save yourself.
Just put your fingers in your ears. La 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 la. Also, we're no longer a money podcast. We are a hair podcast, because every single comment for the last 3 weeks has been, what products are you talking about when it comes to colour wow?
Yeah.
Can we have a hair tutorial from Lucy? This is not a finance question, but how did Lucy get her hair so bouncy and shiny and beautiful? So we're no longer money influencers. We are now hair influencers. And I say we, I mean Lucy.
What do you reckon, Lucille? You could do a spin-off. Can you do some tutorials?
We could do a hair tutorial, definitely. I'll bring my tool in.
Oh, so okay, you gotta share a little bit then. Talk us through, just so that give the people what they want.
The tool is the GHD Rise brush, and it's like a hot brush, but it doesn't blow air like a Dyson.
Okay.
It's
it
just
blow? It's hot.
It's just you blow dry your hair, and then you use the tool as if it's like a curler.
Yeah.
But then you've got to do the scouse pin curls.
Okay.
You have to walk around like that for 20 minutes minimum.
God, this is
So it's high effort. I was thinking
No, but
this
it's not
morning-
high effort, because then you're
done.
It's done for the next good few days.
Okay.
So
Should we
it's
give it a
worth
go?
it.
What do you pin with, little crocodile clips or
just little Amazon.
yeah?
Do you
Amazon
go to the
Finance.
shop?
I never do that.
No, I never leave the house with them. I've left the house with one roller.
They are not
One
true
roller.
Scouse girls. Then
No.
all our
No.
Scouse girlies are absolutely not. She doesn't qualify.
Yeah, I can't commit to over.
Going on the plane.
She's a suburban
I know.
Scouse.
I was tempted to have one
On the plane?
Yeah.
I saw a girl's TikTok where she kept it in for dinner and didn't realise, and all her friends just didn't tell her. So she's literally eating sushi, and she's got one roller in at the front of her head, and then eventually halfway through the night a friend just leans over while she's filming and just pulls it out, and then the girl's like, it was worth it, look at it, and it's literally the most beautiful bangs, do you call them, the flicky things at the front. She was like, you did it right, you kept it in for a good amount of time, literally.
Did they all agree not to tell her?
Yeah, it was when your friend turns up and they were filming as if to be oh, hey, you look so cute. And she's like, oh, thanks. And then they're literally an hour later.
I saw on TikTok I'm going to say woman, because she was much our age. She'd done the school run, and she does the TikTok. She says, just come back from the school run. Come back from school run, I look like this. And she had, a body, but she'd not pinned to the body. So it was dangling down at the front and the back.
So I saw someone like that the other day, and I thought that was the new trend.
She didn't seem to think so. She just had forgotten to pop the poppers underneath your legs and pull her jeans up. So she had jeans and an orange bodysuit, but it was just dangling. She looked like a baby when
That's
you were...
what, it looks like a nappy. It gives nappy vibes. A girl had it, and I thought, oh, that's a new...
Should have told her.
Yeah.
Girl code.
Maybe she... Yeah, but then I thought, imagine if I'm excuse me, and she's like, it's the look.
Oh.
I couldn't take the risk.
They just get uncomfy after a while anyway.
Yeah. I could never.
Maybe she'd had
The
a long
most
day.
uncomfortable thing. I
I could never. I don't even like to wear a swimming costume. I'm so uncomfortable. I think I've got a really long body.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
And then the back, you look
Yeah.
like a block, because from your back, it
It's
just goes, from your bum, it just goes up.
Yeah.
It's
Not hugging to
line.
your curves. It's straight back. Yeah. Us long-bodied girls have problems.
Yeah.
I've got a couple. I don't find them uncomfortable.
Got a short body then, or a normal-sized body. Lucy and I have a long body. It's a thing, honestly. It's a thing.
Yeah.
It's very uncomfortable.
Yeah, I need
Anywho.
a belt or a tight pair of pants if I'm wearing a body.
Yeah.
I've not worn one in ages.
So it doesn't ping.
Yeah.
They were big in the 90s. Like our mum used to wear one.
Sorry mum, but I have vivid memories of you like standing in the bedroom like
if
you're not watching, watch. Trying to pop your poppers on your body. It's not a vibe, is it really? You don't want to catch someone walking in. It's like when you go out in a play suit.
Oh God.
And you need to go to the toilet and all of a sudden you're like 1 minute I was stood in a
fully
bar
naked.
with 500 people and the next I'm naked on my own in a cubicle, vulnerable with my play suit around my ankles.
I did it before in a play suit where like the buttons are at the back funny as well, so then you need help. Like, you don't plan it out and you're like, this was just the worst idea.
I had a friend that went on a first date and got her knickers stuck in her, she had a zip up jeans up the back, like back in the day, and her knickers got stuck in the zip up jeans and it was her first date and she was stuck in the toilet waiting for anyone to come in and help her.
Oh my God.
And her first date's like sat outside and she couldn't get it up and she had to ask 2 women to help her. They had to go and get scissors. So her arse was out in the bathroom and the women had to like cut her out. So she was like, this guy's been sat there for like half an hour. Can you pretend that like we've been talking in the toilet so that we're friends? So the women came out and they're like, it was so good to see you. Whereas actually they just cut her out and her knickers stuck in her jeans.
Queens.
That happened to me on my first date with Alex. I got locked in the toilet.
Oh yeah.
And I had to I was in there for a solid 10 minutes. He was like, what you doing?
She's gone.
She's gone out the window.
And
Shout
I
out
had
to the IBS girlies.
yeah. And I had this big cut on my hand because I had to really try hard to get this door open. Yeah, it was chaotic. There was first aid and everything.
It was your first
quite
date. Oh
embarrassing.
God, cringe on your first date. Can I have a
know.
plaster, please?
I love
some
how
new
in that
underwear?
moment, the biggest thing is you stress about what they think.
I know.
You're not
I'm
stressed
not
about
having
your
a
own
poo.
safety or well-being. You're like, what am I going to say?
Do you
You've
walk
got
back
to
to the
damage your hand
table?
as evidence. Like,
Yeah, I was like, thank God.
Thank God for the blood on the hand. You'd be like, I promise I wasn't having a poo. Promise. Like, how do you say that in the first
Oh, I promise I
date?
didn't leave.
Yeah.
I thought you'd
yeah.
left.
I don't know,
Could
thinking
imagine.
that I've had a poo would be worse. Even though we all
Yeah,
poo.
and then that would have caused me to leave. Slip out the door. Okay, I'm going to go on to today's controversial opinion. You don't need a car upgrade when you're pregnant.
This is divisive. I can't comment.
This comes up so much in our community or on Instagram comments as well when we're talking about cars and people are like, well, I'm having a baby, so I need to get a 5-seater with have you ever seen the boots that you can close with your foot?
No,
Or you put it
they're
underneath. There's a sensor underneath the car.
That's
So
a
if you've
much
got
newer car than mine. I would
Yeah,
never
if
know
you've
that
got-
exists.
a baby, bags, man or woman, you literally just wave your foot underneath the car and it's a sensor to open the boot. Instead of having to put everything down or juggling or whatever. So I don't know. I would buy
Sounds expensive.
if I ever had a baby again, I'd be like, we need that car. We need it. But I get it. It's like a nesting type thing. So when people are having a baby and they need to nest in the house and need to make sure it's clean and tidy and we've got this and we've painted that bathroom that we should have painted 5 years ago and I'm a week away from giving birth and it's the one thing that I need doing in order for me to feel calm. I think people think if we get a family car, it's a thing. We need to make sure that it's accessible because I do get when you've got a kid in a baby car seat, the carrier that you have to put in the Isofix and you're in a 3-door car, I get it can be quite difficult, especially if there's no kids parking spaces. I do get it, but some people end up taking on a lease for however many years on a car that they would never have bought. Our argument is you would never have bought that car in cash. Say it's a 30 grand car. You're about to have a baby. It's like a bougie purchase. Laura's like,
Just going to piss people off, so I'm just
That's all
deciding
right.
whether to talk or whether to. I would say 9 times out of 10 it's a self-indulgent purchase that we build up an image of what we want to look like in our heads.
SUV.
And you'll have known my view if you've asked it before, so this hasn't changed, but the people cannot afford it but want to live a bougie life and go, oh yeah, I need a 4x4 now. 4x4, I'm sorry, will you go off-roading to the
Yeah.
co-op? If you're not off-roading, there are obviously some practical things. I actually used to have a Volkswagen Beetle and a pram wouldn't fit in the boot.
No,
I
it
actually
wouldn't.
downgraded my car. When people upgraded, I downgraded to a Ford Fiesta at the time. So I still didn't go, I went for a 5-door.
Yeah.
Still didn't go for the big 4x4s, didn't go for the big show car, whatever. But I needed a car that a pram could go in.
Yeah.
So I did change my car, but you wouldn't have called it an upgrade. So many people they see another mum do it. And what do women do? We just love to look like everyone else. We love to look like each other. We love to follow trends. Like we feel like you've accomplished something becoming the mum. Like,
It's like the picture perfect family, isn't it?
Picture
To have
perfect
the 4x4.
family. We talked about the 4x4, going to the football practice, the soccer mom. And honestly, it's so many people spend so much money on cars they can't afford because they want to look a certain way. Like, someone was like, oh, we're tall, and so we have to bend over to pick the baby out of the car. I'm like, what when the baby's on the fucking floor? To bend over to pick the baby. Like, don't come at me with it. It's bad for the back. It's absolute bullshit. Like, you want to look good. And that's okay, but let's call a spade because what that helps you do is then understand pragmatically what you're prepared to pay. So when it's what there's wants and needs, you then go, okay, what can we afford based on our wants and based on our needs?
Yeah, if you had a Fiat 500 and you're about to have a baby, you can't fit a pram in there. And you probably
no, you can't, and you probably can't easily get a baby out the back, like so you said, because babies are backwards facing. It's not impossible. I've had friends that have 3-door cars, and all you do is you go in the other side. So say if you put the baby behind the driver's seat or by the other seat, you just go in the other side.
It can be done.
It's absolutely, I've seen so many people do. So many people compromise their financial progression because they want a look, and that's different. And if you've got the money to have a look, go get a nice look. Go get that. Is it like a push present? Do you think it's a bit like that?
Surely a push present is much more selfish, like a ring or a I don't even know, like like it used to be like handbagged in it or watch or this, that and the other when you see it on the socials.
Yeah.
What would your push present be?
Who's
planning it?
Birkin.
No, Birkin.
No, I think they're done now.
Yeah.
I know, everyone's selling
£8.
Can we talk about this? Why does everybody keep selling off their luxury handbags? Have you seen the movement?
Yeah, well, I think that there's a couple of reasons for this, I believe. One of them is you see more and more influencers, luxury influencers selling off their bags because they're actually being sponsored by pre-loved brands and stuff. So trying to show that you can not upcycle, but you can, what's it called? Like the circle. It's like a loop, isn't it? And so you can, it's sustainable and you're going to be able to get some money for it and have someone else use it. And especially when the prices are just unbelievable. But yeah, I think there's been that. I've seen some people sponsored by it and some people going, oh my God, like Lydia Million's getting rid of this. It's like, funnily enough, she's getting rid of it, but she's also sponsored by the brand that resells them. So there's take that with a pinch of salt. But also, like, there was a lot of stuff post-Trump tariff and China fighting back and basically saying that brand that you think is like an Hermes, I don't know if this came out about Hermes or not, but let's take any of them. You might take a Chanel, you might take a Miu Miu, whatever it is, that the majority of the bag is put together in a factory in China.
Yeah,
and they put like one clasp on in Paris
or
and
Italy,
and it's made in Italy, made in Paris. And I don't know the exact brands that they did it for, but it did poke fun and embarrassment at the luxury fashion industry a little bit because it's got a bit crazy. Some of the amounts of money that you have to spend to get a bag is just like next level. I got a lot of comments actually on my Instagram when I had my Mulberry Bayswater, and it's 20 years old. And it's a shame because I don't think in my head at the moment I'm in a space where I want to buy a bag that then lasts 20 years. I don't think the quality's there. I don't think I like any enough. I don't think I'd want to part with the amount of money it takes now. So back then, I that was under £500, I think. Maybe 500 for the Bayswater.
Mine was 400, I remember getting
so
my
mine might have been cheaper
one.
because I got mine before yours. So look, at 20 years ago, but it's not 100 years ago. It was it was a lot of money, but it was achievable. It might have been like, I was 18, so it's like 3 paychecks of working like in Topshop and saving it up and buying it. I don't know what an entry-level Mulberry is at the moment, but I'm sure we're talking thousands.
Yeah, well, yeah. They're making a bit of a resurgence, actually, but I saw that about people, and a lot of people are being targeted as well for theft. I've seen a few people sell theirs because they don't want to be targeted anymore. Like the houses have been raided because they show off that they've got like jewellery and bags and whatnot.
That's scary, isn't
it? I saw a lady, I can't remember her name now, but she was heavily targeted. They got literally left, luckily they weren't there. When they came back, the house had been ransacked, and she went on camera a few days later and she just said, what have I been doing? She was like, I have been living
Advertising.
Well, just more so as well. I will never focus on things again. She was like, my whole personality has been like the new Prada bag, the new this, the new that, and then showing it off online. She was like, I don't care about those things. She was like, the fact that I could have put my family in that situation because I was advertising the fact that I had expensive things and that was important to me. She just kind of was like, my life's completely changed. I don't consider those to be important things anymore. So there's a lot of reasons, but I have seen a lot of people kind of turning the back on really high-end goods and selling them off.
Especially like volume, like
Yeah.
many different ones, like it's like a rite of passage to get, the Chanel this, the Mulberry this, and I've been there. I definitely get it. The price is so high that it's when people don't do it and they've got disposable income to do it. But if you put so much value on it, it's when people have like fake stuff. I always find it a bit icky. I don't find it icky because I don't like. Let's call it Chloe flip flops. I'm really sorry if everyone's got Chloe flip flops, but that's what comes to mind because they say
you can
Chloe
get
on.
them on holiday as well.
But like shout out and they go, oh hi, I've
Yeah.
got Chloe flip flops, and it's like you want the reason that you have had the Chloe flip flops, whether they are fake or whether they're from some Chinese website, is because you want people
to see.
to see them. And I would just love to convince someone to say, honestly, some plain tan flip-flops, which are probably more old money anyway, is all you need. Some good quality if you can, that'll last year after year, that aren't too trendy. Don't put value on the fact that they say Chloe. There's nothing wrong with branding and stuff, but I think I always want people to know why you're really getting it, to your point with that lady. I mean, it terrifies me when I hear about friends being broke into and you're just worried about them, and like it's happened in our village a little bit more recently, and
Cars is
people are a bit unsettled, and the police can't do anything because they're not there at the time, and once they've done it, and they follow up and do what they can, but it's just, do you want a crime reference number for your insurance? And actually, when it comes down to it, you want to be safe.
Yeah, would you rather have the beacon like come and steal from me, like with the cars and stuff?
It's a
Or
very
would you just rather like be a
difficult-
bit more under the radar and no one be bothered about what you could possibly have in your house? I don't know how we went on such a tangent, but
It's usually me. I like, what did we say? Oh, it was the car thing. Oh, yeah, it's just don't derail your journey.
Yeah.
That's like, it is a bit controversial. You can see it's like divisive, and I've been direct on my response on it, but I just see so many people go down a path which is about how it looks and not necessary. And like we can convince ourselves of anything.
Yeah.
So if you think you need a 5-door
Electric.
electric can fit a pram in, whizzy car seat, go for it. You don't, but if you want to convince yourself of it, you'll believe it and you'll fund that, and that's fine if it doesn't derail everything else. But hands up, who's buying it cash? Because I'm positive you're not.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what you need on your mic. We can convince ourselves of anything.
I say it at least once a month anyway.
Did you say it to yourself?
I convince myself of
I
anything.
said this to
And
my
listen,
mum the other day. I was like, Mum, you can convince yourself of anything.
What did she want to buy?
She wanted a new car. I was like, Mum, you got a new car a year ago.
Jen, do you listen to this podcast?
Well done, Lucy. Okay, wait, I know I need a bit more detail.
We might
so
do pod on tour at Jen's house, like sat around the kitchen table. Talk to us. When did you first have feelings that you wanted to buy a new car, Jen? And what was it that prompted you to believe that you deserved yourself of a new car?
she got one a year ago.
Yeah,
What?
I know.
Jen, right.
And then
Get her on the
did
phone.
she make a bad decision? Is it impractical? Is it?
No, she just gets bored.
But what?
Read a book.
Share only what you want to, because we are absolutely picking on you here, Lucy. We want some dirt on Jen. What was her reasoning? Because she wouldn't have said, I'm bored. There probably would have been
So she's recently moved to an automatic car, which is the first time she's had an automatic. And she's basically she calls it a pencil sharpener car. And it's like, it's not got any of the good,
Gadgets.
yeah. It's just
Basic.
like, yeah, it's basic.
Where
and
does
she
Jen
and she
drive?
wants to go back to a manual.
I've
And she
never
wants, like,
heard
a
of
little
it.
bit.
Holly's like, all she would want is a
Swap.
automatic in her life. So what's the gadget that she misses?
I don't even know.
You didn't get
And
that
she
far.
probably
You just
says
said,
it, but I don't understand it because I'm not a driver.
Lucy's nodding along like really supportive. No idea what she's talking about.
we can convince ourselves of anything.
Yeah, literally.
And when you said that to her, did it resonate?
Yeah, I'm quite good. I'm like her voice of reason
that's
because she
good.
is a spender.
Okay.
She has, growing up, she was in so much credit card debt.
Yeah.
So
You're her sponsor.
yeah.
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 The worst thing is, obviously, like, my background as a lawyer is I can convince myself of anything and then convince other people that it's a good idea as well. So
Yeah.
I sabotage my sponsors. And so like, my poor husband's like, okay, what are we doing? I'm like, is it left? It's right. We're going left. No, because now we're going right because this is the reason we need to go right. But now we're going left because this is the reason we need to go left. He's like, yeah,
giving chaos.
sound argument either way. Which one are we doing? So well
Say it with
done.
conviction. It's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Dilemma number 1. First month without credit. Please send help. I'm about to start my financial journey. I have put off worrying about my debt for so long, and it's now around £11,500. It has got to the point where it's keeping me awake at night. I'm most annoyed at myself for being so selfish and spending money on things I didn't need, instead of thinking about the stability of my family. I'm struggling to even make my first budget work. I'm still at minus £200 in excess, so I really need to figure it out before payday. Any tips on surviving your first month without using credit would be so helpful. Thank you.
Oh, it's a newbie.
I know. First of all, take a deep breath.
Mm-hmm.
You are not alone. We have had thousands of people come through our community in the same position, if not with more consumer debt. That's not the biggest amount of consumer debt I've ever heard. And the fact that you've joined a community like ours means you're going to come out of it the other side. So they're all really good things to think about. Secondly, I hate that you feel that you've been really selfish, that you that you haven't looked after your family, that you've made certain choices that you're regretful of. But debt is really easy to get into.
Oh, God, yeah.
It's so frictionless. If you've used things like buy now, pay later, we all know it. We've been on ASOS. You've been on, I nearly said Topshop then, RIP.
Yeah.
It is on ASOS. Adidas
Did you just do the
website.
sign of the cross?
I did, which reminds me of the girl we went down to London the other week in Costa. She was making a ham and cheese panini and she dropped it on the floor. And she literally, if you're not watching, you need to watch on YouTube, she dropped it on the floor and instead of picking it up like a normal person, she went, and then
like a priest would do. It wasn't just like a congregational.
It's like RIP
across.
to the panini on the floor. Anyway.
RIP Topshop. But yeah, you've all been there where you're being peppered with options.
Your Instagram feed, we've said it a million times before, is absolutely peppered with you to overspend, to impulse buy, to buy into this influencer style life that is just unrealistic. And the only way you can fund it, because you can't afford it, is by credit. So to feel bad and to feel like you're the only one and to feel guilty, I get it. You're allowed your 5 minutes of feeling bad, but let's utilize that energy that you're using on feeling bad into making some really good positive money habits, and creating a budget is the perfect place to start, isn't it?
Yeah, the budget is the first realization that we're using credit to fund basic lifestyle stuff. So when you do that first budget and you run out of money, so you put all your income at the top and you allocate your fixed expenses, you've got your sinking funds, which in your first one are super lean. It's not like bougie ones, but as I always say, and we get asked this question all the time, which makes perfect sense. If you're going to, what do you do? Do you build up your sinking funds yet? And it's, yes, you do, but only if you're definitely going to use them. And try keep them as lean as possible. So you'll put a little bit of money away for Christmas, a little bit of money away for your annual car insurance, whatever these bits and bobs are, and then your flexible expenses. And what tends to happen is, in fact, I've never seen one that's accurate that doesn't bust the first time.
Yeah.
People haven't properly gone back and looked at what they actually spend. And so I do have that as a tip as well, like have a look on your banking the last month, the month before. You'll be shocked. You'll realise how much we spend like on tap and go, takeaways, Deliveroo. It adds up. Cash here, cash there. It really, really does add up. And so usually people have balanced the budget. They've not been accurate enough and they've missed stuff, and that's normal. But more often than not, they then, for the other people, they've not got any money left over. In fact, they've gone into negative. So her job is to get the first budget in a place where she can manage, where she's not relying on credit, and she just balances it. Like there might not be an excess that first month, which is quite demoralizing, because the first step is to build an emergency fund. That's where things like selling on Vinted, selling on Facebook Marketplace. Have you got any savings anywhere? Can you get a tax rebate that you might be due? Can you take on some part-time work? Is the money from birthday cards hanging around the corner? Like whatever you've got, can you pull that together? Because you've no excess. And so it is really tough, but we've got the money MOT in the app, which is on the homepage of the app, and you go all the way down to the bottom where the free ebooks are. That's a step-by-step thing that you can go, okay, mortgage and rent, how can I optimize this? Utilities, what can I do here? Bam, 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 bam. You go all the way down and squeeze that budget as best you can. But the long and short of it is you need to, when you realize that you're funding your budget with credit, things have to go. You have to be brave enough to go, unless I'm bringing in more income, I can't afford these things. And it might be for a period of time, like for a season of your life. Like we might have to go without Spotify Premium. Neil's still not cancelled me off it, by the way. I'm still waiting for the day that I have to step in.
Every budget I go, we still pay £20 for Spotify.
Yeah,
every
I'm waiting.
Month, and that's however many pounds. And I go, anyway.
Yeah, move on.
But the
I'm a
sinking funds
parasite.
is actually really interesting because people might create their first few budgets based on how they were. You're right, how they have behaved before. So I always get my nails done. I get my hair done.
Yeah.
We go on holiday. We go on mini breaks. We have a bougie birthday. I always spend £250 on my husband for his birthday. So you might be creating sinking funds based on past behaviour.
That's so true.
Now you have to create the budget as you've spent before, so it's bust, which therefore means, like Laura said, you don't have enough money to live that life for a period of time. We might be able to get you there in the future by being savvy, squeezing your expenses, having sinking funds, having emergency savings, all those lovely things. But for the moment, that's not your life. So you have to then make some really difficult decisions about what sinking funds you're going to put on the back burner for a while. And it probably will be the things that are not essentials. And I'm sorry, but having your hair done at a really expensive place, as much as we all do that, but we've done the work to get here, so we're allowed to have our hair done.
And we've been there when you do a flaming home one, or you have to stretch the time out and be more grey between them.
And you have
show
the
me
root spray.
the root spray. Show me the sacrifice, because you don't get anywhere without a bit of sacrifice.
No,
and
you
actually,
need a bit of tough love.
it's good for you, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you go, look at me, I can, and you look forward to the day it comes back into your life.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and it will, if you follow the methodology, you'll come full circle, is what I'm trying to say. You will get back to living that life, but not as much. Like you say, I've got sinking funds for clothes. I find it really hard to spend money on clothes because for so long that was a thing when I was younger that I used to spend money on, and probably got me into debt that I would have put on credit cards. I did a fashion degree. I was surrounded by people that just spent money on clothes every day. So that was kind of like my hobby, my thing. I really struggle to do it now because I'm like, it has to be an investment piece. I have to want to wear it. What would I rather spend money on? And my thing's now holidays and travel. So my money gets directed into those places. But I tell you what, if I had 11 grand debt, I wouldn't be going on holiday this year. Or if I would, it'd be a really small holiday in the UK for the weekend. And the reason that I say that is because it will make you learn your lesson in that you will never want to get into debt again, because you won't want to forego. You won't want to stay in the UK again over summer for another year, let me tell you, because the sun ain't coming. Like, and if it does, it's for one day. You need to feel the pain. Not because it's like a punishment thing, just because it'll make you not want to do it again thing. And it's lessons for life. Our whole thing is making positive money habits for life so that this doesn't happen again, and that your children watch how you interact with money and they have them positive money habits. So it's only a good thing.
We compare it so often to a fitness journey, and like we are really, really into the gym and really into training. I'm really, really back into my training and loving it. And it's bringing back a lot of early 20s memories of like sports science study and recovery study. And, you know, we as teenagers grew up on the running track, you know, Tuesday night, Thursday night. In fact, we used to do Monday and Thursday. We used to do Tuesdays circuits, which is ironic because now we do that. And I don't think many of us would put our kids through actually what we did, but we learned so much, like, you know, doing really intense interval repeats, like 10 times 400 meters, and then some 200 meters, and then some 100 meters, pouring rain, hailstones.
I'd never put anyone through that. I hated it. I hate running to this day.
Well, but then it could be circuits. I think my point is that made you a better runner. You had to go through some pain. You can't turn up one day and go, I'm going to run really fast and really well and not get out of breath. And there's pain and stuff and hard work and grit that goes into anything worth having is hard, like an accomplishment, whether it's studying like for a really big exam or test. Most people can't just wing it. For most thing worth doing that's hard, you grind it out. Same with work, like when we're working towards a particular goal. And it's when you get there and you're in a place of financial well-being and financial strength and financial confidence, it's not just because you woke up one day and went, it's all right. It's because you had to do the budget, you had to do the numbers, you had to say no, you had to get around with your partner or your family.
No, yeah.
And go
it's really
through
difficult
suffering.
to say no when you've said yes for so long, but it's been funded by a credit. For you to suddenly turn around to friends and be like, I'd love to come on that girls' trip, but I can't.
Super difficult.
To say it out loud, admits there's a bit of a problem, but it's not a bad thing. And we always say this, some friends might be like, I probably should say no to, but you're like, you need to be that one person.
Oh, thank God. I have no money either. Can we do it together?
Yeah,
but first budget, it's exciting. What I like is like, she's like giving up to it. It's like the next payday, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do it from now. You can do a mini budget. So I always say that to people, that's like my diet starting on a Monday.
Oh my God. Yeah. I would love to have seen the blowouts that people had before they do the first budget, knowing that they're going to start budgeting. Like,
run up the debt more. Yeah.
Literally, what do you do in that last 2 weeks? Like, I'm desperate because I know what I do and I'm going to start eating well again on the Monday. Like, it's fun. Like, it is fun. I'm not going to deny
it's
it.
like, she's like, you know, if it's like
she booked a holiday.
If the new budget, she did a whole wardrobe on Klarna.
Capsule wardrobe holiday booked for July.
And now I'm going to be savvy with my money. No, but it is sometimes if you're early in the month and your payday is not a while off, you can in the app do a mini budget. So it can be a weird one where if your bills have gone out and stuff, you can either go backwards and do a retrospective one. So people do that. They start as if they were paid. They set a budget. They accurately track their expenses. They usually see that they're struggling. But otherwise, let's say you've got 400 quid left in your bank account for your free cash and you've got to let that last to the end of the month. Do a mini budget for it.
Yeah, 100%.
Start now, don't wait. But good luck. And it's one of the biggest learning curves you have in this whole thing. You can nail this bit. It's going to be 3 months before you do it as well. Like, you won't nail it. You'll get it wrong. You'll forget something. We have weaknesses every month. So it's very, very normal. But you'll get there. It gets easier. First one's your hardest, I think.
Drop it in the community as well. Like, everyone is in there doing exactly the same thing. So you're not on your own doing this.
I feel like we need a community win jingle from now.
Oh, come on.
So let's all say it together. 3, 2, 1.
Oh, sorry.
I was literally like, I'm watching.
Have you done it in the past where you've rapped one? Do you remember? And
Yeah, I remember that.
I thought you were going to sing this one. Sorry.
I was waiting with bated breath. I was literally.
So she wants us to sing Community Win after 3.
Don't know the tune.
Everyone improvise.
1,
Community.
3.
Community Win.
Oh God in heaven.
Hope no one had that on loud.
That was a lot of different notes.
Was it? I didn't notice.
Thank you for being such an inspiration. I'm still in the debt payoff part of the process, but have started my career girl era. We are leveling up. I'm taking everything I need from my employer, the awards, the positive reviews, the training, the courses, the networking opportunities, and planning my escape to a higher paid role. I've had to move on to the lemonade lifestyle to pay off this debt, and it isn't where I want to be.
I love it. She's like a queen.
I love it.
Planning her
Career
escape.
girl era.
Career girl era, but love that she's like, and that's what you should do. And I arguably think my friends in HR would be like, I would love it if an employee was like utilising all the benefits that I worked so hard to get.
But I love the idea that
what training portal are we all talking about?
Some poor schmuck of a manager's like, oh my God, this person is amazing. They're working so hard. They're throwing themselves into everything. Why can't you be more like Shelley? Shelley's amazing. This girl is so amazing. And I've handed in my resignation.
Yeah. It's how it goes.
Shelley's plotting.
I've seen Shelley's. Lucy's like, I have no idea what you're talking about because she'll never work with us. But there are Shelleys out there and you can see them. And I feel like we've been them where you're like,
Team Shelley.
where you are career girl era. She's right. Climbing that ladder. You've got your eyes on the prize. You put your hands up for projects that come up in a meeting. You get the work done. You contribute positively as a team. You like might mentor a new person. You are doing all the training. Like, yeah, she is giving career girl vibes and she will get rewarded for it.
So many people coast, right? And listen, there's different, like, I've said this already on this podcast, so sorry, but there's different seasons of our life. And, you know, I remember at different points in my career, you might switch off a little bit. You coast a little bit. Like sometimes if I've been disengaged with an employer and I've been frustrated about something. In fact, like I hated work, so I did an Ironman. Like it was like if you're not happy with, if you're not
How
happy,
can I distract myself?
yeah. But it is like and I think it might be that you are like a returning parent, and actually you want to channel energy into being that available, fresh for your children, fresh for your family home. You might be into sport, whatever you might want to travel, whatever it is. You're okay, but if you're in your career girl era or career guy era, you have to go all in. And I have been privileged enough to be in some very senior boardrooms, way more experience and exposure to some really, really intelligent and sometimes not so intelligent people. And what you see is the people, like the bosses and the boards and the big guys and girls, they're not extra special in necessarily because of intelligence or because of years of experience. Sometimes they've just been a doer or gone that little bit of extra. And it doesn't mean you have to flog yourself, but you do have to work hard and you do have to like overachieve sometimes, but it's not that hard. And we would have sometimes like projects that would need doing, initiatives that would need doing, and the table would turn around and go, well, who could do that? And we're talking big businesses. They could still only name a handful of people. Yeah. It's not always the most intelligent, and it's not always the ones with the most experience. If you've got a can-do attitude, if you're throwing yourself into everything, if you're listening and you're learning and you're like developing yourself, you will stand out very easily. And so like you do have to grab every opportunity with two hands, because whether it's at that business or whether it's somewhere else, if there's a company giving you development, like take it.
Laura's right. Like sometimes, I think you said it before, it's not that hard to stand out because so many people coast. If you just give a little bit of effort, even into one aspect of your job, you can probably stand out a mile because so many other people are coasting. You just don't realise it. And you can sometimes win on personality. Like Laura said, it's not sometimes about intelligence. If you're a people person, you can get people on side. That's half the battle. And you can move projects along quickly because you're a team player and people like you and you're personable and you're not like I don't know, like... You can win on personality, yeah, I think.
And like, so, you know, your personality might be the like quiet introvert that gets things done, builds relationships, but might not be the loudest. Yeah. Like, that's okay. You might be a really good negotiator. You might get people on side. You might be quite savvy and commercial. And, you know, let people talk about you. Let people think that, oh, you're volunteering for something else again. Let them, because half the time they're jealous.
They won't do it.
But, you know, it isn't always, like you said, the most like well-rounded person. I mean, that's a bit wrong. That's wrong. I'm going to say, because actually it was really good to be an all-rounder. But I think back to things like our friend's got a boss who's the owner and CEO of a like floated business, very, very successful. He's dyslexic. Mm-hmm. He doesn't write emails. His business is run on WhatsApp. If someone sends him a voice note, it's not allowed to be longer than 30 seconds.
No, a minute.
So I haven't talked with him really quick when she's doing a voicemail on this, because she's used to do voicemails to her boss because she has to do it really, really quick. But he says, I will stop listening at 60 seconds. And what he's doing there, he's got confidence in himself. That's how I operate. He's not being we always swear, and I was going to say it. He's not being that or being difficult even. But that's how he's got ahead. Like he's played his own game, but I don't know him personally, so it's a really weird thing for me to say, like, it's not the cleverest person in the room. He's obviously very intelligent, but people just get ahead by backing themselves and leaning into their strengths. It's not that hard to stand out because so many other people are lazy. Yeah. Lazy. Not even average, they're lazy. Yeah. So then your average people are doing all right, and then your 2 or 3 people...
You try a little bit harder, you're probably going to stand out.
Dead easy. I feel like it's like a flower. Do you like a little flower? Is it you put your head above the parapet? What's a parapet?
It's war.
It's war.
A parapet, is that not like in war?
Lydia, what does it mean to put your head above the parapet? Because I've said that before and I'm not confident I know why I've said that. Because I feel it's like a poppy or a tulip that like sticks the head up above. It's not hard to shine.
Yeah. Like and I love that you're like labelling it career girl era, because it's like a bit of a commitment.
Not like season, you decide.
At work.
Not
and
forever.
She said the ways in which she's going to do it as well. She's already identified, like, I'm going to do courses. I'm going to go do the extra learning modules. I'm going to go for awards, like all those things.
I do think, like, as in my experience, women aren't as strategic about it, and I wish people were smarter, not harder with that as well. So yeah, doing the courses of things that you're interested in, but they can like play a game of chess, not checkers. It's not volume. It's not about doing more work necessarily. You should do more work, but you don't have to do the most.
Yeah, it might be like
quality over quantity.
Doing the course in AI, because let me tell you, like
no one understands it, and to know it would be helpful. But it might also be
Stand
like,
out.
if presenting is part of your job, like investing in time in, doing Toastmasters or getting confident or volunteering for the next thing to present, because communication skills are so important in business. Be like, work smarter, not harder, because it is a game of chess, not.
Yeah, don't be
checkers.
chained to your desk till 10 o'clock at night, because your counterparts might not be doing that. Like Laura said, work smarter. There might be just one thing that will stand you above everybody else. We're not saying like work till you're deaf.
But soak it up and take opportunity. And I really enjoyed Emma Greed's recent like running around podcast. And it's just the same story, and I want a bit more from her, if I'm being honest. I'm like, it's the same rinse and repeat story. But what she talks about, and I think this is really interesting because we have a community. She talks about the fact that women love community and to network, but they don't utilize their network. So she's got very good at building a network, but leveraging it when she needs it. And sometimes like I like cringe when my husband will ring someone in his phone book that knows something that could help us do something. Like we needed help with a particular element of website. And he's like, oh, I've got like a developer friend, like let's call now. And I'm like, oh, well, don't, he might be busy. And he's like, no. The man just goes, yeah, I know a guy, let's ring him. I just think sometimes we're like a bit more gentle with it. And Emma Greed was saying like she doesn't network, she leverages her network. And one's a noun and one's a verb, I think. I've said it really quickly, so I'm not sure which, but
yeah, my husband just picks up, if he needs something, he'll just pick the phone up from someone that he's not spoken to for 3 years.
Would we be like, oh my God, I've not spoken to her.
I
I've
would
not even
rather
said she's had
die.
2 babies. I've not said anything like.
I would rather die.
I don't think I replied to her last message
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah. I
But then
left her on unread.
You need something. God forbid you need something. But why don't we? Sometimes I've thought about that, and I've thought about telling my friends, I'm sorry, I'm just being that person that rings you now. If you're not free, it's fine. Yeah. But like, I'd be like, oh, I'll just text her because she might be busy.
Yeah, sometimes you do the like preamble text that's like, hey, how are you? What are you up to? Da, 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 da.
Can I borrow your
and then
dress?
like 2 days later, then you're like, oh, can I just, like, we're all guilty of it. And it happens to me. And I'm like, I know what you're doing. And it's fine. You wish actually someone had just rung you and gone, can I?
When Emma Greed said that on a podcast, I was like,
okay.
I think women do that. I think I do that. And doesn't mean that you have to be more like a man or whatever, but I'd love to hear male feedback on that as well. Like, do you think we're different and stuff like that? 'Cause I think Dad would be the same.
Oh, Dad would just ring
But
someone.
Mum wouldn't.
No.
She's just...
Come on,
It
guys.
gives me anxiety when someone's like tiptoeing around something.
Yes.
Like, just say it. Like,
Are you going to tell me something bad?
You'd rather them just come out and be like,
yeah.
Lydia, do you know, can I just...
And I don't mind when people.
Do it
So
to you.
I screen my calls because my number has been on so many different things because of like media work and tech. And there's lists that people have my number. It drives me nuts. I wish I could change my number. So I screen every call. Like I don't answer them. And if like radio and people will leave a voicemail, I'll ring them straight back. If anyone in my life rang me, if I'm not free, I don't pick up. If I'm free, I do pick up. I really, really don't mind it. And so I do always tell people to do that. I'm like, ring me. If I don't pick up, like I'll ring you back. But I do think, there's this. Get shit done.
Yeah.
Oh, another tangent. Doing well today. Stick with us. I think we've got another dilemma that we may be able to
Did we add
find
to the
out what parapet
parapet?
is.
Oh yeah, like a little wall. Like so, like in a
Head
wall
above
where
the
you stick
parapet.
your head up above the-
Was it in the wall or the war?
It's a wall.
I
It's a
thought you
wall.
said war.
I did.
Oh,
I
you did.
think I think it is a war thing though.
Yeah.
That you like you
Stick
know
your
like
It's
head
being
above.
brave enough
Because
to
someone-
stick
Yeah.
your head above.
It sounds dangerous, to be honest.
We've decided,
Laura's like,
don't
it's
stick.
a flower. I'm like, it's war. Ah.
It's a wall. Parapet means a wall.
Yes.
Don't put yourself into a position where you could get shot.
It's like a bravery thing, isn't it? Putting your head
Yeah.
above
Be
the
brave.
parapet,
Put your
like-
head above the parapet.
It
but
is a
wear a
saying.
helmet.
It is a saying for being brave.
Okay. It is. I've always said it. Didn't know what it meant. Now I think I've just convinced people to put themselves on a suicide mission to be safe in war.
If you'd like to tell us your win, head to the community in the app or email it to thevault@financielle.com. Okay, time for our next dilemma. I've worked so hard to get debt-free. Now I'm scared of blowing my inheritance. So far, it's taken me 2 years to get debt-free from around 7k in consumer debt. I'm currently a few £100s off my 5k savings target, which has taken me about 18 months. I'm 37 in a single income, no kids household, renting my 1-bedroom flat. I have an old car and live a non-expensive lifestyle with the occasional holiday. I work in the NHS and pay into my pension at a rate of 8.3%. I've had to reduce my hours recently from 37.5 to 30 hours a week as as I suspect I'm neurodivergent and have had to admit working full-time is not an option. I'll be having an ADHD assessment soon. We lost my granddad earlier in the year and will be receiving a substantial amount of inheritance. I don't have a plan. It may be in the region of £25,000 to £35,000 or more, but I won't know until the house is sold, as the amount is based on percentages in the will. I'm really worried about blowing it, as I have an impulse spending problem, or not doing enough right with it. Where should I keep it, as the ISA limit is 20k per year? Are there other savings account you can recommend? Can I top up my pension because of my reduction in hours? I'd also love to book a holiday, as life has been tough. My second car is also on its way out and might need replacing in the next few years. Is there a plan for receiving a large sum of money, or any advice you can give me?
First of all, well done. Like,
Yeah, paid off debt.
yeah.
Built up savings. She's got 5, did you say?
Yeah.
I don't want to feel like, oh, I'm so hopeless at money, because you're obviously not. Like, you've done really well. You've done she said it had a 2-year debt-free journey.
Yeah, 2 years debt-free.
Yeah, manages to go on holiday. Is paying into a pension.
She's nervous, isn't she?
Yeah,
Especially when
and it's natural.
the money for a legacy left from a relative is just this weird pressure to it, especially if you're someone who's struggled with money. Because she's never, it doesn't sound like during this past 2 to 3 years, she's had a lump sum.
Yeah.
She's ground it out. She's done the
legwork,
excess every month from your budget, put it towards things. So it must be quite scary to suddenly feel like it could slip through your fingers, and not only you'd waste it necessarily, but like out of respect for your granddad. Your granddad's obviously left you all a great gift. And
yeah, but I think we always talk about if you're coming into inheritance or a large sum of money, like having a plan is the best thing. And you've already mentioned a couple, but not being too stressed and not having a huge list, because that money goes quite quickly. Even though it feels like a lot of money, with the things that you've mentioned,
it's gone.
Split down. Like, you've effectively spent it already. And I get it, because I would be the same. We always talk about, Laura always says, if I'm going to give you 10 grand tomorrow, what are you going to do with it? And
Everyone
I know
should know
exactly what I'm going to do with it. And it's kind of gone and spent.
But not just that, it should be the same that you're doing now. So let's go with this is going to be 25 grand. If she gets 25 grand in a lump sum, or she gets 25 grand in like 12 and a bit, 2 grand payments in terms of excess, making that up, but she needs to do the same thing with it, because it shouldn't be, oh, I'll treat myself. And when she says I deserve the holiday, I'm like, oh, just like wind down. Because what people do is they equate bonus, lump sum, win with, oh, so then this isn't normal money, treat, and I deserve it. And that's the mentality that she kind of has to shut down. You deserve a holiday anyway.
Yeah.
Everyone deserves a holiday. And so we want to work travel into our budget, whether it's a UK travel, whether it's a city weekend break that's a budget, or whether it's, more extensive travel plans. We've said that a lot, especially to those people that have been on really deep debt-free journeys and frugality and stuff. Travel should be, if you want to go on a holiday, which she does, it should already be in the budget, because she's got 5 grand, which sounds like a good emergency fund. Maybe she wants to get more, and she's debt free.
Yeah.
So she shouldn't wait for a lump sum to then blow it on a holiday.
No.
She should work backwards and go, I'd like a holiday. Okay, what would I like? What sinking fund do I need to build up? Let's put it in the budget now. So I definitely would recommend coming out of this like treat myself mentality. Same with car. Let's pretend this money isn't coming. Do you need a car?
Yeah.
If you do, what type of car do you need? How much does it cost? And what do you need to put into your new car sinking fund to save up for it? And I think if for things that you say you need, you have to go in that order. You can't be like, right, I've got 25. Let's do a 5 grand holiday. Let's do a 10 grand car. Right, we've got 15 left. It's just not the right way around. Like, and you can do it that way, but you will spend it all, and you're not doing it in order. This is where the playbook comes in. The playbook is an order of things. And so this helps you with any sum of money that you come into, whether it's 225 grand or whether it's 25 grand or whether it's 2.5 grand. Have you got a mini emergency fund, which 1 month's expenses minimum? Then are you debt free? And I think she's passed with those 2. Mm-hmm. So the next one would be a large emergency fund. You need to pick the right amount for you. You're going to be reducing your hours. What's your minimum expenses for like 3, 6, 12 months? Pick a number around there. And I suspect for most people that would come under 20. So that might be your ISA mentally. So it might be she's already got 5. Let's put 15 of it into an ISA. And when you're worried about an impulse spending problem, That's your emergency fund.
Yeah.
You're not spending that money.
No, it's not for anything.
No, it's been locked away. So you put that away. So then you were in build, and so we're into buy a property and big life goals. So I would say the car upgrade and the holiday come into our big life goals section. So again, put it in the budget. Don't necessarily, you might end up doing this, but when you're first working out, work out the figures and put it in your budget. And the other element to this would be deciding whether she does or doesn't want a home. Because if she wants a home, to me, it feels like the remainder of that money would be really good suited there. I think pension, again, it's not a judgment on whether you should or shouldn't. It just doesn't come yet. Extra contributions don't come yet. Even though she's on reduced hours, I still think she's got to build her emergency fund. And if she wants a home, that's the time to do it. If she doesn't, then we look at those big life goals and we look at holiday and we look at car and see how they can fit in on a sinking fund basis. And then you're in grow. Yeah. So grow is paying down your mortgage if she's got one. She doesn't sound like she's got one, but it's investing in the market, and that's what you'd look at, maybe a SIP, so outside of your NHS one, or in the NHS one if you wanted to add extra in there. But this really helps, especially if you've got an impulsive spending problem, to follow a plan. As you said, Hol, we found people with neurodivergent tendencies, whether diagnosed or not, really benefit from Playbook, because you know what? It takes away the decision.
Yeah.
You don't have to be like, oh, today I want this, tomorrow I want this, and what, overthinking.
Yeah, what's the rules? What's the rules? And I'll follow them step by step. I really like the holiday thing, because a lot of people might go, oh, I've come into 25 grand, so I'm going to have a $5 grand holiday. Whereas actually...
Nice round number.
Yeah,
See what I did there.
If they were doing it with like a sinking fund, they're like, okay, where do I want to go? Like, or what is my budget? Like, if you're doing it as a sinking fund one, you don't just splurge $5 grand on a holiday. You might just go, oh, I'm going to do £300 a month for the next 12 months, and that's going to get me X. So I think it's a really good way of looking at it. I actually didn't think about it like that. Yeah,
so often I've heard that, especially when people have lost someone, I hear them say, we need to go on a holiday. And I absolutely get it, especially if, depending on the circumstance, depending on the relative grief, the stress that you've been through, whether someone's been poorly, whether it's been sudden, whether you feel you want to get away. It's very, very delicate. But it's when she kind of says, like, I deserve it and I have an impulsive spending problem. You have to connect those two things and go, like we said earlier, we'll convince ourselves of anything. And I agree. I think when you've gone through that, it's a lovely thing to be able to go and get some R&R somewhere.
But you deserve a holiday anyway.
So
it should be in your budget.
Just because it's Tuesday or Thursday.
You're debt free, like Laura said, emergency fund. Why is holiday not in your sinking fund? Don't wait. Because everyone will wait for a big bonus to come or an inheritance. It might never come. And you never went on the holiday. You never learned how to pay for a holiday.
No. And I think that you don't mention this, but I did allude to it. It's always pressure when we've been left a legacy. I hear it so often. People are really, really worried about doing the right or wrong thing. And that's probably I'm scared about what could happen. Like she also says, where else could I put it in? I think it sounds like once you've put it in an ISA, you don't need anywhere else anyway. But the next best place is just a high yield savings account and getting it in a good place. And don't forget, I mean, we're obviously well into the year now, but the next tax year you can then put it in. The other caveat to this all is being brave to wait. So whenever people come into inheritance or a life insurance payout or stuff like that, we always say, breathe. Don't let it burn a hole in your pocket. Nothing is on fire. You have a budget that you can live off, you have no debt, and you have an emergency fund. So if you don't want to do anything for a year and you want to just park as much of it as possible into an ISA and then everything else into a high yield savings, do it.
Yeah, don't put it anywhere where you can access it easily if you are an impulsive spender, because I can guarantee it'll be like...
Yeah, set yourself a deadline. I'm not touching it for a year.
I'll put that meal on it. I'll buy that coat on it.
It'll go. It's there, it's
a
waiting.
Weekend trip. And by the time you come back to it to do something proactive with it, when you finally decided and it's dwindled down by the couple of thousand, it could be
There could be a family member that she trusts that's accountable. I don't like the idea of giving money to family ever, but telling someone in your life that you've got this. I mean, if it's the family getting it,
they know you're getting it.
People will be a bit nosy anyway, probably. But yeah, being very mindful of not dipping into it like it's a slush fund. That's why wait if you're overwhelmed. But if you like the idea of following the playbook, follow the playbook, because by the way, as part of that, the money's still there. It's just in your emergency fund and you're not allowed to touch it.
On the inheritance point, I remember, and we'll talk about the dwindling and the like tap, 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 because it can just go on on a normal budget. A girl in high school, so it would have been year 11. I vividly remember her getting an inheritance from her granddad, and her mum gave it to her at 16. And by the time it got to like 6 weeks, she'd spent it all, and it was thousands. And she did that thing whereby she was trying to impress her friends.
I buy the
She used to
Nando's.
go
Oh my
to the
God.
cash machine. I'm like year 11, and she'd just draw out cash, and she'd be like buying sweets for you and
What was
chocolate
her
for
mum
you and
thinking?
clothes for you and this, that and the other, impressing boys. Like, I remember it vividly. And it got to the point where they were like standing behind her at the cash machine. I heard a story, and they were just taking cash out the cash
Oh
machine.
my
and
God.
she was giving people money.
Stop it.
And it
That's
was
so
in the
sad.
thousands, and she literally spent it within like 6 weeks. So that's like a really obviously skewed version, but that it can just dwindle. So just like Laura said, just don't let it burn a hole in your pocket, but also don't just let it sit around and get caught up in your
Tempted
current
to.
account, and like actually do something with it. So it's locked away if you're an impulsive spender, and you recognise that in yourself, which is good that you even noticed.
But if you can manage 5, you can manage 25
Yeah.
more. Like
Same principle,
it's,
isn't it?
You know, don't. I think you're better at this than you think after what you've done. I think it's because it's such a volume and you've not had to grind it out. But 5 sat there and you're not touching it in an irresponsible way. So back yourself a little bit as well. Be brave.
I like that. That's all for this episode. The Vault is now locked. And just a quick disclaimer, The Vault is just a chat around life and money topics. We are not giving financial advice.